If you're wondering how to connect the dots in your cybersecurity strategy, also how to transform your approach to enterprise security, this video is for you. Today, we're diving into the ISACA business model for information security, also known as BMIS. It is a powerful tool that offers a holistic view, integrating every aspect of your security program. We're going to explore the dynamic connections that bring all the components together to protect an organization's asset. Hi, I'm Jimmy Dang with Security, where security meets curiosity. Welcome to today's session on BMIS model. So let's get started. Now, you probably have heard of the people, process, and technology framework. It highlights the essential interplay between these three elements in achieving organizational goals. This framework guides leaders in balancing investments in human capital, process improvements, and technological innovations to drive sustainable growth and maintain a competitive advantage in their business. In 2009, though, ISACA, also known as the Information Systems Audit and Control Association, it is an international professional association focused on IT governance. It expanded this PPT framework and introduced what we called, let me get to that, the Business Information Security Model, also known as the BMIS, takes a more holistic and comprehensive approach to information security. This model added the fourth element, which is the organization. Additionally, these four elements, the people, organization, process, and technology, are connected by what we call the six dynamic interconnections. They are culture, governing, architecture, enable and support, human factor, and emergence. Now, if you're looking for a good read right before bed, I highly recommend going to the ISACA website and download your free copy of the booklet. As I mentioned earlier, that the BMIS model serves as a comprehensive and holistic framework that helps organizations integrate information security into their business processes, ensuring that the security measures support and enable business objectives. Aligning the business, IT, and security is important to an organization's success, as I discussed in my previous video on the executive briefing on the key components of an enterprise security program. Go check it out if you haven't done so. Let's deconstruct each element and dive into understanding this framework. Starting with the organization element here, as you can see that the traditional approaches to information security often focuses on just people, process, and technology aspects, but overlooked the enterprise as a whole. The organization element that you see here goes beyond these views by encompassing the business mission, objectives, and all the formal and informal factors that influence how an organization achieves its objectives. The people element represents everyone in the organization, full-time employees, part-time staff, contingent workers, and more, working together through established processes and the use of technology to advance the organization's mission and achieve its objectives. The process element represents the formal structure of all defined activities within the organization that help achieve its strategic objectives. It outlines the practices and procedures for carrying out all these activities. Think of process as input and output. Each process should have a clear business purpose, accountable owners, defined roles and responsibilities, and ways to measure performance. Next up is the technology element. That includes all the systems, applications, and tools used by the people in the organization. While technology is a powerful enabler of an organization's processes and strategic objectives, it needs to be effectively managed by people and processes to be truly useful. Technology doesn't operate on its own. It requires human and procedural support to succeed. When used correctly, technology can enhance processes and multiply efforts, allowing the organization to accomplish more work in less time, at lower cost, and with greater accuracy. Now that we have a fundamental understanding of these four elements, organization, people, process, and technology, let's explore how these elements interact with the dynamic connectors. We're starting out with the culture dynamic connector first because it has the biggest influence on the success of an organization and its security program. The culture dynamic connector links people and organization. Now, unlike different models, this one uniquely integrates culture into its governance structure. Culture refers to the patterns of behaviors, beliefs, assumptions, and ways of doing things in an organization. Culture strongly influences behavior more often than formal policies and standards. Culture determines how committed personnel are to security policies and protecting the organization's critical assets. So how do we go about creating a favorable and productive security culture? First thing first, it starts with executive leadership. Leaders lead by example, by adhering to all policies and procedures and standards. Next, secure by design. Embedding secure by design principles into key business processes to make security a routine part of organizational activities. Followed by integrated messaging, incorporating messages about asset protection and information security into existing communication, such as newsletters. Next, consistent messaging, ensuring that every individual receives a consistent message emphasizing the importance of sound security practices. And finally, security responsibilities. We know that security is everyone's responsibilities, so include security responsibilities in all job descriptions. Next up is the governing dynamic connector. It links processes and organization together. According to ISACA, governance involves the responsibilities and practices of the board and executive management. It provides strategic direction, ensures objectives are met, manages risks effectively, and uses enterprise resources responsibly. In other words, organizational processes are shaped and guided by the organization's missions and strategic goals. The tools used in governance include starting out with policies, standards, guidelines, process documentations, resource allocation, and compliance. Now, I talked about governance, policy, and compliance in my other video, which is the Enterprise Security Program video, so go check it out. These tools that we're looking at here enable management to control the development and operation of business processes, ensuring desired outcomes. It is important to highlight that communication plays a vital role in governance. Management communicates directives that influence changes in business processes. When governance fails, processes may deviate from organizational objectives and operate independently, and that is risky. Next up, we have the architecture dynamic connector. This connects the organization to the technology elements, emphasizing the need for technology to be well planned and purposeful. Architectural practice ensure that starting with consistency, efficiency, cost effectiveness, resilience, security, flexibility, and finally, scalability. Now let's talk about each of these items here in more detail. Starting with consistency, implementing similar or identical practices and solutions across the IT environment. Efficiency, building or operating the IT organization and its environment more effectively through consistent design and practices. Cost effectiveness, reducing acquisition and supporting costs with a consistent approach and benefiting from economies of scale and minimizing waste. Resilience, creating purposeful architectures and designs with robust resilience in place. Security, incorporating security policies, procedures, guidelines, and standards to ensure that secure by design principle is embedded in applications and systems. Flexibility, designing architectures with the necessary adaptability to accommodate changing business needs, regulatory environments or requirements, and market conditions. And then finally, scalability, developing architectures that can adjust in size to meet various business demands such as revenue growth and expanding data sets. Next up is Emergence Dynamic Connector. It connects people to process. It focuses on how people perform their work and that can lead to new opportunities, processes, practices, and ways of doing things. Emergence often arises when people find more efficient, accurate, or easy ways of doing work. While creativity and innovation can improve processes, they can also result in inconsistent outcomes, such as mistakes and lapses in product and service quality. To mitigate deviations in output caused by emergence, several potential remedies can include automation, enacting controls, enhancing process maturity. Let's start with automation first. Implementing automation can reduce human influence in processes, leading to more consistent and efficient outcomes. It is essential to identify activities that are suitable for automation because not all automation will be beneficial to the organization as well as all parties that are involved. Next, enacting controls. Establishing key controls help pinpoint factors that contribute to outcome deviation, paving the way for continuous improvement. Next up is enhancing process maturity. Organizations can enhance process maturity by making changes that include adding key metrics or generating comprehensive logs for analysis. This approach improves process understanding and facilitates continuous enhancement over time. Next up is enabling and support. Dynamic connector. It links process to the technology element. Its purpose is to enhance business processes with technology, making them faster and more accurate than manual methods. The design of business processes determines how technology will assist them. However, you see that many companies will undermine their processes by letting poorly selected or poorly designed technology dictate their operations. While technology may not always support every aspect of a process, some organizations go to the extreme of adapting processes to fit inadequate technology. This compromise can harm the organization. The disconnect often stems from technology experts not fully grasping or understanding the business that they support. And while the business owners and users may lack the understanding of the technology supporting them. A tool used to bridge this gap is the requirements document, typically created at the beginning of a major project. Now, having clearly defined requirements and functionalities for new technologies significantly increases the likelihood of selecting and implementing technology that supports business processes. The enabling and support dynamic connector is a life cycle as opposed to a done at once approach. So let's take a look at what that looks like. These are the key phases to the life cycle: business requirements, service requirements, business solution, technology selection, and then solution deployment. Let's go into detail, starting with the business requirements. At this phase here, we begin with identifying and documenting the business needs and objectives that the technology will support. This includes gathering input from stakeholder, understanding current processes, and also defining the desired outcomes. Now this connects to the service requirements. At this phase, service requirements translate business needs into specific requirements for IT services. This phase involves detailing service levels, operational parameters, security requirements, and compliance requirements. This connects to the business solution phase. At this phase, we're developing solutions that meet the service requirements and aligned with the business objectives. This stage, we focus on designing processes, workflows, and the organizational changes necessary to achieve the desired outcomes. It connects to the technology selection, selecting and implementing technology solutions that support the business and the service requirements. This includes evaluating technology options, conducting proof of concepts, as well as ensuring compatibility with existing systems and infrastructure. And finally, it connects to the deployment of solutions. Here, we're deploying the selected technology solutions into the operational environment. This final stage involves testing, training, and transitioning to production, while also ensuring that minimal disruption to ongoing business operations. Now, throughout this life cycle, continuous communication and alignment between business stakeholders and technology experts are essential to ensure that the chosen solutions effectively enable and support the organization's business processes and objectives. And finally, the human factors dynamic connector that links people to technology. Its purpose here is to manage the interaction between people and information systems. From an information security standpoint, systems should implement requirements without hindering or imposing frictions between user interaction and the systems whenever possible. Now, security features and functions should be user-friendly and intuitive when users interacting with the systems. Users should not easily bypass security controls intended to protect the systems and the information. Additionally, systems should be designed to prevent misuse or exploitation of other assets. In conclusion, the BMIS model provides organizations with insights into how their people, the process, and technologies collectively safeguard the organization. It highlights the interconnectedness among these elements as well as the dynamic connectors, emphasizing holistic thinking over detailed focus. The model also illustrates how changes in one element or dynamic connector can impact others, particularly the adjacent ones, creating ripple effects throughout the organization. This holistic perspective underscores the importance of cohesive security strategies that consider the broader organization ecosystem. Let's now use an example to illustrate how the BMIS model could be used to consider the security implications of an organization introducing a new AI payment system. Let's use Acme from the other example from the video that I created on the enterprise security program. Now imagine that we work at a Acme fintech company. Our board and executives want to implement a new AI payment system to improve our customer experience and streamline our payment processing operations. The new system will use AI personalized discounts and offers, detect and prevent fraud, as well as automating payment processing. Now we're going to apply this BMS model to see how this works. First, we must examine our former organizational structure to determine how the new AI payment system will be integrated. Some of the key considerations from an organizational standpoint include: 1. How will the introduction of the new AI payment system impact existing roles and responsibilities within the organization? 2. What new roles or responsibilities will need to be created to support the new AI payment system? 3. Will new business units need to be formed or existing business units need to be restructured? And 4. Which departments or individuals will be responsible for managing the security of the AI payment system? Next, the people element. Who are the stakeholders? Who will be impacted by the change? Are there any influential individuals or groups within our organization who may resist the adoption of the new system? And finally, how can we leverage influential individuals or groups to encourage the adoption of the new AI payment systems and also foster a positive security culture around the new system? Next, the process element. Let's think about the existing process. We must determine how the new AI payment system will impact existing business processes. For instance, we will need to consider how the new system changes the flow of information related to payments, discounts, as well as fraud detection. What about the new processes? How will we design, develop, implement, and also considering the new processes that align with the new AI payment system? Now, the technology element. We think about the scope. We must carefully consider the scope of technology involved in implementing the new AI payment system, including hardware, software, and new network components. We need to do the impact assessment and analysis. We should analyze how the new AI payment system will impact the security of its existing technology infrastructure. And finally, we need to determine if the new AI payment system creates any new security vulnerabilities and how those vulnerabilities will be mitigated. Governing. We need to establish clear governance structure as well as oversight for the new AI payment system. This includes defining policies, standards, procedures for the system's development, implementations, operation, and maintenance. For example, the organization should establish clear policies for data security and privacy to ensure compliance with relevant regulations. Dynamic culture connections. Now, when we talk about the culture, we should proactively build a security-conscious culture around the use of new AI payment system. This includes providing employees with the right type of training and the resources they need to use the system securely and effectively, and also promoting a culture of shared responsibility for information security. Architecture. We need to carefully design the architecture of the AI payment system to ensure its security and integration with existing systems. This includes considerations around the data flow, access control, as well as system integration. Emergence. we need to be prepared for emergent risks and opportunities that may arise from the implementation of the new AI system. For example, new fraud patterns may emerge as criminals try to exploit vulnerabilities in the new system. Here at Acme, we will need to adapt our security processes and controls to address these new threats. Enabling and support. We need to ensure that our business processes are properly enabled and supported by the new AI payment system. For example, we will need to develop processes to ensure that the new AI system is properly maintained and gets updated. Human factors. We need to consider the human factors that may impact the security of our new AI payment system. This includes providing employees with the right type of training on how to use the system securely and designing the system's user interface in a way that minimizes the risk of user mistakes. Now, there you have it, the BMIS model. Now, by applying the BIMS model, we can take proactive and holistic approach to identifying and mitigating the security risk associated with the new AI payment system. The BMIS model provides a framework for us to consider all of the relevant factors, including organizational, processes, the technological, and the human factors, and to develop a comprehensive security program that aligns with our business objectives. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you find it insightful and informative. If you like this content, please subscribe to Curiosity, where security meets curiosity. Your support inspires and encourages me to continue creating these videos and sharing knowledge. Until next time, keep learning, stay secure, and stay curious.